Hello, and welcome to the Connect Podcast, a podcast by the Holdridge Area Chamber of Commerce.
Hi, I'm Stephanie. I am with Shelter Insurance. I just wanted to come and tell you some information on what some of the terms are with insurance. First, we will talk about an auto policy and what the limits are there. The state minimum is $25,000, $50,000, $25,000. What those terms mean is bodily injury is the first two numbers. It's $25,000 per person, $50,000 per accident. So if you would cause the wreck, that is how much your insurance company will cover per wreck. So if you have one person in a car wreck that got hurt, insurance will cover up to $25,000. If you had three people in the car and they each had $20,000 that got hurt in medical bills or bodily injury, your insurance will only cover up to the $50,000 and you will have to end up covering the rest of the $10,000. That's a lot of the reason why I don't like that state minimum. The third number is that other $25,000. That is property damage. So if you would hit something that is not yours, other person's property, your insurance will cover that $25,000. Again, same boat. You go and you end up rear-ending a brand new 24 Tahoe or something like that. That's worth $75,000. Well, insurance is covering $25,000. Where is that other $50,000 coming from? That is why I don't like those. I personally like quoting at $100,000, $300,000, $100,000. And then you have uninsured, underinsured. So uninsured, underinsured is either not insured enough or not insured at all. So if somebody else were to cause the wreck for bodily injury, that is what your insurance would cover. So again, I like doing those at the $100,000, $300,000 just so you have enough coverage because medical bills rack up pretty quickly. And then we have medical pay. So if there is a medical payment, I usually like to put $5,000 on it just to help cover it. And then your roadside assistant, some companies offer it, some don't. We offer two different types of roadside assistant. We have a 50-mile tow or $100 roadside service, or the other one is a 100-mile tow with $200. So you can choose which one you want on that or not have roadside at all. And then we also have that comp and collision, which the higher your deductible, the lower your premium is. If you want it, cheaper, but you have to pay a little more if there is an accident. Like the comprehensive, you want to always have that if you want your vehicle replaced at least. A lot of people do comp, no collisions, and your deductibles do not have to be the same for them. I actually just had a client that doesn't drive one of his vehicles, so he wanted it down to liability. He doesn't drive it, doesn't need comp. Well, with our nice Nebraska winds, a tree fell over on it. Not covered at all anymore. So that's kind of what we have on auto. So with our home policy, we have different home policies. We have homeowners, we have dwellings. So it just kind of depends on which way you want to go. Mostly I like homeowners because they are better bang for your buck. So coverage A is your house, how much you actually want your house covered for. Say I can do your house for $196,000. I have a whole little system that I pull up and it tells me how much we can rebuild your house for reconstruction. Say your house, I can insure it for $196,000. For other structures, which would be the B coverage, $19,600. That is always 10% of what your house is covered for. And then we got your personal property. That's C. That is everything that you would bring inside your house. If we dumped your house upside down, it fell out of your house, that would be considered personal property and it would be covered under that. So with your $196,000, I believe it's 70%. So it would be $137,200 that we'd be able to insure your personal property for. And then we have liability and med pay. Say some kids decided to go play in your yard on their way home, climb up a tree, fell out of the tree, broke their arm, broke their leg, whatever. You're responsible for it even though the kid decided to do it on their own. So we start with $100,000 and we can go up from there. I mean, especially if you live by the school, the park, you have a lot of kids by your house, I always recommend at least $300,000, $5,000 for those. We have a drainage system endorsement. So like if your sink leaks, your hot water heater leaks, your dishwasher leaks, something like that. Like if the water gets to where it's intended to and then it starts leaking out, rots your floor, whatever, Shelter would help cover up to $10,000 for that. Two things that I really like with Shelter, what we do, you have a loss of use, or ours is called living expense. Most companies put, if you cannot live at your house for whatever reason, you know, fire, tornado, whatever. Most insurance companies will say, hey, you have X amount of dollars. After you're done with that, we're not helping you anymore. Shelter will help cover up to 2 years, and they don't have a max on it, which I really like that. Shelter does a 1% wind and hail deductible. So the deductible on this would be $19.60. And I look at it, what's the odds of having a claim that is not wind or hail in Nebraska? So I just put every deductible at $2,000 because it just makes better sense. Yeah. And plus, you know, helps lower your premium and stuff. So, and then yeah, you get your bundle discount with home auto. And then we also have a third bundle, which is life. We have different policies. The two main that you hear is whole and life. A lot of people say, what's the difference? How do I know which one to do? So term is temporary. Your debt is temporary. The whole life is for like the funeral cost. Pretty much what it is, you know, you're born and eventually you're gonna die. That's not gonna change. And then you go through up until you're 16, 18, whatever it is. You decide to buy your new car, so now you have debt. Okay, well then you go to college, more debt. Then you buy a house, and then you start a family, and you buy kids' cars and college and all that stuff, and your debt just keeps going up and up and up. Well then finally you hit that top of the mountain. Well, okay, we're paying off the house, or paying off the cars, kids are paying for their college now, like all your debt just starts going down. So then you can start taking that term, and you can, with Shelter at least, you can start putting some of that term into a whole life policy. And so if you want to pull out, say, $250,000 to cover all your debt, and you start paying it off, you start looking at, oh, I only have $200 in debt now, but I don't have anything for a funeral. Call me, we can switch it over. We can switch, $50,000 over, $10,000, $25,000, whatever you want, over to a whole life policy. Whole life policies, the death benefit increases. So you pull out a $10,000 whole life on them, by, in 5 years, it's going to be worth more. Mm-hmm. Whole life, I absolutely love it. I have 2 policies on my 2-year-old right now. I have a whole life policy where I only pay on it for 20 years. So by the time he's 22, it will be paid off. It's $10,000. I pay $280 a year on it. And then the other one I have on him is a junior policy. It's worth $20,000, where I paid on it one time, and he has it till he's age 26. And then at 26, he decides he can start paying on it or not.
You explained a little bit about getting your life insurance at birth. So when do you recommend is the best time for someone to get life insurance?
As soon as you get their social security number. The younger you are, the cheaper it is.
What are some things that can affect someone's premium?
Age, health. If you're on certain medicine, you might not get one policy versus another policy because you're on these meds. Yeah. So if you can get the life policy before, it's better.
What should people do if they have questions about insurance or want to speak with you directly?
You can either come visit me in my office. I am at the boardwalk, at the backside of the boutique, right north of the funeral home. My hours are 9 to 4:30. I'm usually there most days. If you can't make it in to come see me, you can always give me a call, 308-995-5408.